Hey, what's up? Nasser Malik here. Welcome to another performance testing tutorial. Today we'll be looking at how to download Loadrunner from the HP site, install and go through some of the applications get installed with Loadrunner, walk through some of the Loadrunner apps like ViewGen, which is Virtual User Generator, controller, and also the analysis tool. So before I get into it, I want to just let you guys know if anybody interested in setting up automation frameworks. I also have started another series, the Selenium and Python automation. You guys can take a look at it if you're interested. Doesn't matter what language you're using, Java, C Sharp. You can follow along with the tutorial. Process-wise, it's the same process for doesn't matter what language you use. I'm building this series step by step, so even people who are starting to do automation first time, they can follow along too. If you're interested, please go check it out. So let's get into the Loadrunner setup and installation. So before you could do that, you have to go to the Loadrunner site. I'll add this link beneath the video. So you have to go here and you would have to register yourself first. So I'm already registered, so I'm going to go ahead and sign in. If you're not, you can just click on the free trial and it'll let you register. Once you register, you can log in and you can download trial versions of Loadrunner, QTP, and some other softwares. So they do give you Loadrunner. I think it's a 50 user license, which is it doesn't expire. You can use it as long as you want and gives you basic all protocols. So I'm gonna go ahead and sign in, and then you guys can follow along once you register. So I'm gonna go ahead and download this. So I'm gonna click on download button. It's gonna open up another tab. And if you take a look at it, it's a community edition. So for now, you can ignore all of this stuff. So we're only gonna be working with this community edition Loadrunner. That's the one we need to download. Let's click on it and you can save it. Okay, so once it's finished downloading on your browser, you can see it on your downloads. You can go to the folder where it downloaded. It's basically a zip file. You can unzip it. So once it's unzipped, you can go into the folder and you'll see the HP Loadrunner executable file. So basically it's an install file. So you just double click it. It may take a while to come up. So I'm going to pause the video. Okay, there it is. So say yes. So it's going to install Loadrunner, and it's asking for the location where you want to install it. So I'm going to change it to different, but you can install it at the default location. That's fine. So it's going to go through the installation process. So while it's installing, let's talk about. So Loadrunner is the only tool in the market that basically most of the protocols, and once you learn how to work with the one protocol, it is much easier to learn the rest of the protocols because from developing test cases to setting up scenarios to doing analysis and reporting, it's exactly the same, except when you were creating your script in different protocol, the syntax are different, but everything else is same. And we will also talk about how to calculate for number of users you're going to need, how much resources they're going to consume, how many nodes you're going to need to generate the load. So we're also going to talk about the footprint of the virtual users. So after almost toward the end of the installation, you may get a similar message. Just click OK and click next here. I'm going to go ahead and check the first option and then uncheck the rest. because I can manually start them, but if you want them, keep it checked in. That's fine too. You can also change the location of your installation, but I'm just gonna keep it the default and install. So once it's finished installing, it will probably go through couple of or maybe more than a couple of different pieces of install, so it's gonna take a while. So be patient, and towards at the end of it, you're going to see this screen. So at this point, it's asking you to pick a certificate, already existing certificate, or generate one for the communication between the controller and agent. So I'm not going to do that because I'm only going to be using this. So for now, I'm going to skip it. So I'm going to click next, and here I'm going to just select the defaults and finish. It will pop up HP README documentation on the browser. I don't need to go through it. I can just close it. If you want to read through it, that's fine. So while it's installing HP virtualization setup piece, you're going to also see this thing pop up for licensing. So as you can see, the licensing and it's permanent, so it doesn't expire, so you can use it as long as you want. But if you do purchase a license for your company and stuff, you can install the new licenses by clicking this install new licenses button, and you can, if you have a file or a key, you can either way paste it in there and the new license will show up in here. And usually when they generate a new license, the HP guys, they will ask you for the host ID, and this is the host ID. On the other hand, for virtual user generator, VUGen, you don't need a license. You can do as many installs as you want for analysis tool and virtual user generator. So if you click on the first license, which is community, permanent type with 50 capacity, 50 users. So these are all the protocols that you have available to you to record and playback and play around with them. We're going to only work with web HTTP, HTML protocol, and also we'll take a look at the true client protocol. So let's talk about it, what Loadrunner consists of, what tools it has. So very first tool that we work most of the time is VUGen, or Virtual User Generator. That is the application is part of the Loadrunner that allows us to record and playback scripts and develop our scripts in. You can select different protocols. And let me open this up so I can show it to you. So this is the Virtual User Generator. And let it load. So this is what it looks like. This tool allows you to record and develop and playback your scripts. So to start with, you go File, New Script Resolution, and here you select what protocol you want to work with. There is a, if you don't know your application, if you're doing client server, thick client applications or other type of application that you don't know, there is a feature in there that it could determine the protocols for you. I haven't used that feature much since you already know when you're testing the application what type of application it is and what protocol you need to use. So we'll go through this tool once we start developing our scripts. For now, I just wanted to show you what the tool looks like. So we're going to get out of this tool. So the next tool that we're going to talk about is a controller. Once you're done developing your test cases in VUGen, you load up in the controller and you create your scenarios and you define your tests, like how slow or how fast you want to ramp up, how many number of users you want to sustain for X amount of time, and then how do you want to ramp down. And it's a lot more than that. I mean, you have rendezvous points, if you want to, during the test, you want to create spikes in different levels or searches or different kind. We'll talk about all those stuff that helps you to imitate your application behavior or your planned application behavior. So the controller is the tool that allows you to bring in all your test cases, all your data, and run a load test against a system in a controlled manner. Controller also gives you the real-time monitoring and also logs the results to go through the analysis after the test. It really helps a lot, especially when you need to share data during the runtime in between the different user of, groups, or you need to pre-stage the data, and you need to be able to hold it in some sort of a database where you can access it fast enough. So VTS is very, very powerful in that sense. So script has basically three sections. One is init section, which is the initialization part of the scripting, where you may put in like logins or sort of other stuff that needs to be initialized before you get into the start doing the actual business functionality or action within the application. The action section is a piece where you put in the code that you need to execute once or multiple times over and over again. And the view user end will be similar to like logout of the application. There are some other files. I'm not gonna go into details at this moment right now, but we will go through them. We will also learn how to create our own functions in basic C, how to play around with the runtime settings to achieve different type of load or scenarios. We'll go into parameters and all that stuff. So for now, we're gonna go ahead and try to record this Mercury Tours application here. So you click this record button. So once you click this record button, you're going to see this little pop-up window. The very first section, action section, it's asking you to record in ViewUser. So I will select ViewUser in it. So this is what I want to start recording. So keep in mind, I mean, not just web applications can do HTTP protocol, but there are some client server applications that they have TIC client and they do web protocol also. So in that sense, then you will select, instead of web browser, you will select Windows application. So here it is selected Microsoft Internet Explorer for application. So for recording purposes, it makes a difference because your application may not be 100% compatible with the specific browser. You may have issues, so you can select the browser that is supported by your web application. But after you finish recording, it doesn't really matter. I mean, you can switch the browser agent at any time. So for just recording purposes, it is a little bit helpful to select a specific browser. On the address, we'll put in the Mercury Tours URL. That's the app we want to record. And for the start recording, there you have two options: immediately and in delay mode. So there are some applications you may have to, once you start recording, once you launch them, because the ViewGene will launch the browser for you to record, but sometimes you have to, do something in the app before you can start recording or get to a specific screen. So this is helpful starting in a delay mode. But I'm going to say immediate, and this is the working directory. I'm going to say record. We will talk about the recording options once we start getting too deeper, but right now we're gonna see how this records out of the box. So I'm gonna say record. So in a second, you're gonna see an application. So what you're gonna see is this recording toolbar popped up, and you can move it around anywhere you want. I usually don't really like IE, and I don't use it much, so it took a while to start this browser. I forgot to select a different browser, but I'm just gonna go ahead and use this one. So your recording bar is here, and it has let me see if I can, because it's a little bit harder to see with this background. So let me see if I can. So I'm going to go through the bar and give you some information. So this is a recording, so it's disabled. Since it's already recording, you can see the recording events. This is a stop button if you want to stop the recording. This is pause if you want to pause it. So init is the one where you basically do a login, and then you will switch to action to do the actual core business application functionality in there, and then you would do logout and user end. So this is to create new actions. If you need to create other than default actions, you need to create new actions in here. So while you're recording, you will be using this insert start transaction and end transaction. These are the two buttons that will mark start of the transaction and end of the transaction for measurement. So when you run a load, you're basically marking a start and end to telling Loadrunner when to start measuring the time, when to end measuring the time to consider an action completed, or measure the response time in between the two start and end. And you can give it a name. So in this case, I'm an init user, and I'm going to do login. So I'm going to mark a transaction, and I'm going to say login, just a simple. And you can see as soon as I mark a transaction, the transaction end is enabled. And also there's a insert rendezvous point and insert comments and some checks and stuff. We can talk about it later. For now, we're gonna go ahead and see if we can log in. So I will come in here and I will do Mercury username, enter that, and Mercury password. So username, password is same. But as you see, while I'm typing that, the recording is still showing 214 events. And it doesn't mean that you're going to have that 214 number of rows in a script. It's just recording on a different level, and once you finish recording, it's going to generate a script which is going to be a smaller script than number of events probably. So as you can see, while I'm typing, it doesn't really do anything, because it's not going to do anything as long as I'm typing and interacting with the application and there is no background activity to the server. It's not going to move this number. Only time it's going to move this number if there is a call that's sent to a server. So if I click sign in, you will see these number going to change. So we're in an init section. We started a transaction login. We put in a username, password. We're gonna set sign in. And as you see, I clicked sign in, and these numbers are going to change. So now we're logged in into this. So keep in mind, if you have application, they're doing polling and checking messages from the server in a timely manner, then this will keep going up. It won't stop. It'll stop for a little bit, but maybe based on how often they check the messages from the server, this is going to change. So you need to figure out where your task finishes and this stops. That's when you need to mark your transaction end. And basically, I'm going to mark it end. So when you click end, since there's only one started transaction, it's going to give you a name. You select that. So basically, it's going to mark how long it is going to take for login to happen. So every user who's going to do this action, it's going to get measured and averaged out, and you can get all kind of reports on it. So since we did the login, a login is going to happen once, and we're going to be doing multiple things in here after that. So we're going to switch from viewuser init to viewuser action. And then we go ahead and start recording the rest of the functionality. For this video, I'm going to stop right here. Keep it simple and short so it's easier for people to follow along. So for next video, we'll start recording from here and do different searches and stuff in action sections, and then we do user end, and then I'll show you how to do correlation and parameterization, how to run the script and get it ready to be run in the controller. So thank you for tuning in, and see you next time. Bye bye.